Man, did he let you down good. What a pooper. Hello there again, sports fans. It's me again, Bryce. Third, don't get caught on name value. And welcome to another edition of Sports Dreamer Podcast. Maybe. Hello there again, sports fans. Welcome back, football. My name is Bryce, and welcome to another football edition of Sports Dreamer Podcast. And I hope you guys are staying healthy and safe, because we're gonna go right into it. And on this episode, we'll go right into the starts and sits for week 1. And for our Thursday night football, we get the Dallas Cowboys versus the defending Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the Cowboys, we'll start running back Ezekiel Elliott and wide receivers CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. And for your sits, we'll sit running back Tony Pollard and wide receiver Michael Gallup. And for the defending champions, we'll start wide receivers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but we'll sit running backs Ronald Jones Jr. and Leonard Fournette, and also sit wide receiver Antonio Brown. Let's head over to our Sunday games. First, we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Atlanta Falcons. For the Eagles, we'll start running back Miles Sanders and wide receiver Devonta Smith, but we'll sit wide receiver Jalen Reagor. For the Falcons, we'll start running back Mike Davis and wide receiver Calvin Ridley, but we'll sit wide receiver Russell Gage. Next game, we have the New York Jets versus the Carolina Panthers. For the Jets, we'll always start wide receiver Corey Davis, and for your sits, we'll sit all running backs. I don't care who it is, sit them all. For the Panthers, you'll start running back Christian McCaffrey, and we'll also start wide receiver DJ Moore. For this one, we'll sit wide receiver Robbie Anderson, because we're not sure how well quarterback Sam Darnold will play. Next game, it's the LA Chargers versus the Washington football team. For the Chargers, we'll start running back Austin Ekeler, especially in PPR and half PPR leagues, and also start wide receiver Keenan Allen. And for your sits, we'll sit wide receiver Mike Williams on this one. For Washington football team, we'll start running back Antonio Gibson and wide receivers Scary Terry McLaurin. And for your sits, we'll sit running back JD McKissick and wide receiver Curtis Samuel. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Detroit Lions. For the Niners, we'll start running back Raheem Mostert and wide receivers Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. For your sits, we'll sit running back Trey Sermon on this one because we're not sure on how the 49ers will utilize Trey Sermon on this game. For the Lions, I'll only be comfortable on starting running back DeAndre Swift only if he's healthy, and you gotta sit whoever their wide receiver they have in this game. Next game, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. For the Steelers, we'll start running back Najee Harris and wide receivers Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. And for your sits, we'll sit wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. For the Bills, we'll start wide receiver Stephon Diggs, and we'll sit their two running backs, Zach Moss and Devin Singletary, because we're not sure on who will touch the football more on this game. Next game, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Indianapolis Colts. For the Seahawks, we'll start running back Chris Carson and wide receiver DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and we'll sit backup running back Rashad Penny, who is coming off an injury. For the Colts, we'll only start running back Jonathan Taylor, and we'll sit all their wide receivers on this one. Colts quarterback Carson Wentz is coming off a foot surgery, and even if he plays, he didn't have enough reps with all his wide receivers. Next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Cincinnati Bengals. For the Vikings, we'll start running back Dalvin Cook and wide receivers Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. However, watch the injury report and the practices if Justin Jefferson is clear to go. For your sits, we'll sit backup running back Alexander Madison. For the Bengals, we'll start running back Joe Mixon and wide receiver T. Higgins, and we'll sit wide receivers Tyler Boyd and rookie Jamar Chase. And for our game of the week, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Houston Texans. This is going to be an epic battle for the number 1 overall pick for the 2022 NFL Rookie Draft. For the Jaguars, we'll start running back James Robinson and wide receiver Laviska Shenault, and we'll sit wide receivers DJ Chark and Marvin Jones Jr. For the Texans, if you're really desperate, you can start wide receiver Brandon Cooks, and that's about it. I'm not gonna even touch any of the running backs. Next game, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the Tennessee Titans. For the Cardinals, we'll start both running backs Chase Edmonds and James Conner, and also start wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. And for your sit, we'll sit wide receiver AJ Green. For the Titans, we'll start Rush King, Derrick Henry, and wide receivers AJ Brown and Julio Jones. And we'll sit wide receiver Josh Reynolds. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. For the Dolphins, we'll only start running back Myles Gaskin and sit wide receivers Jalen Waddle and Devontae Parker. For the Patriots, it's officially the Mac and Cheese Jones era. However, we'll only start running back Damian Harris and we'll sit wide receivers Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers. Next, we have the Denver Broncos versus the New York Giants. For the Broncos, we'll start running back Melvin Gordon and wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, and we'll sit rookie running back Javonte Williams and wide receiver Courtland Sutton, who is coming off a knee surgery. For the Giants, we'll start running back Saquon Barkley and wide receiver Kenny Golladay, but only if both players are healthy, and we'll sit wide receivers Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard. Next game, we have the Last Dance Green Bay Packers versus the New Orleans Saints. For the farewell Packers, we'll start running back Aaron Jones and wide receiver Devontae Adams, and we'll sit backup running back AJ Dillon and wide receiver Randall Cobb. For the Saints, we'll start running back Alvin Kamara and wide receiver Marquez Callaway. And for the sets, we'll sit running back Latavius Murray and wide receiver Traquan Smith. Next game, we have the Cleveland Browns versus the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Browns, we'll start both running backs Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and also start wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., but we'll sit wide receiver Jarvis Landry on this one. For the Chiefs, we'll start running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, only if he's healthy, and also start wide receiver Tyreek Hill, but we'll set wide receiver Mecole Hardman. And for our Sunday Night Football, we have the Chicago Bears versus the LA Rams. For the Bears, we'll start running back David Montgomery and wide receivers Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney, and we'll set backup running back Damian Harris on this one. For the Rams, we'll start running back Darrell Henderson, only if he's healthy, and also start wide receivers Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, but we'll sit recently traded running back Sony Michel. And for our Monday Night Football, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Las Vegas Raiders. For the Ravens, we'll only start running back Gus Edwards, and we'll set both wide receivers Sammy Watkins and Marquise Hollywood Brown. For the Raiders, we'll start both running backs Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. However, we'll sit Henry Ruggs and Bryan Edwards. And there you have it, our Week 1 starts and sits for 2021 Fantasy Football. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button and hit subscribe, and also feel free to leave a comment down below. We'll see you on our next episode.